Welcome to the Matter Financial Report. I am your co host, Tony Shore, and I'm here with our host, the man with the plan, the one and only, my friend and yours, Michael Matter. Michael, how are you today?
Tony, I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I am fantastic because before the show, we were jamming out. I played my favorite song from my favorite album for you. Uh, what was the name of the song? Do you remember? Owner of a Lonely
Owner of a
Heart?
Lonely Heart by Yes, the
Yeah,
British rock band group.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So now everyone knows my favorite song. I know you said your favorite live artist was who?
Chris Stapleton. Seen him
Oh,
twice. Anytime he
amazing
comes in the
voice.
area, I will definitely make sure that I'm there.
Chris Stapleton is a great performer, great songwriter, and has an amazing voice. I will give you that. Yeah,
Yeah, I've
that
never
is.
heard anyone been able to sing like that live, and just the power that he can sing with, the notes that he hits. It's perfect pitch every single time.
Yeah, he's great.
And yeah,
Agreed. Agreed. Yep. And my favorite band is Yes. Favorite album is their 90125 album. Favorite song from that album, Owner of a Lonely Heart. Hey, it's not, the album isn't, it's my personal favorite that I listen to the most, but, it's not the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's. It's not the Beach Boys, Pet Sounds, right? It's not, Led Zeppelin or the Stones, but it's a great record. That's a great band. That's my favorite band. I love them. Well, hey, let's jump right in here. I know today we're talking about Social Security, and this is a hot topic for so many people right now, Michael. Um, Social Security, how you file, when you file, what should you do? A lot of people have opinions, but where are those opinions coming from, and do they really apply to your specific situation? I think that's the issue, right?
right. I think there's a pretty famous saying, something about everyone's got an opinion.
Right.
We'll leave it at that.
Yep.
It's a kid-friendly show. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But, I mean, obviously, Social Security is a big one, and there's a number of signs out there. Are
yeah.
you that let you know, am I ready? Have I planned out properly?
Yeah, so I had a really great meeting yesterday with a potential client, and one of the questions we were coming across was Social Security for this client.
Okay.
And then I read this article before we recorded the show, and I thought this would be a perfect time to talk about Social Security. So the article we'll be referencing is a USA Today article. Are you ready to collect Social Security? 3 signs it might be time, and 3 steps to max out your Social Security benefits in 2026.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, a good place to start, I suppose, is Social Security is so important. It can make or break a retirement. I know you're always telling me it's the foundation of any solid retirement income plan, right?
Right. So if you're eligible for Social Security, it's that guaranteed paycheck that's going to come in. It's your pension that you've been funding the entire time you've been working. Part of your tax that gets taken out of your paycheck is going to fund your Social Security payment in retirement. And so when we do income planning, having a guaranteed source of income is a very crucial point to your retirement plan.
It is. And again, I think it's so important for people to understand just how crucial it is for their overall plan for retirement, no matter how much or how little you have, right?
Right. So again, any source of income that's coming in that's guaranteed is going to be a major bonus for planning in retirement. So if you know that you're starting the month with $3,000 every single month, then that's a great baseline of understanding maybe where your expenses should be. And then if there's a gap that we need to fill, at least we have a baseline. So we need to figure out the baseline first. And that's what Social Security typically is.
Yeah, the foundation or the baseline. I
Yeah.
I I like that. So, where do you wanna go next with this? What else do we need to know about Social Security?
Well, just kind of what are the what's the history? What determines your benefit? So not everyone receives the same benefit of Social Security in retirement.
Sure.
So Tony, it's not like you turn 65 and all of a sudden you get $2,500 a month of payments, and everyone across the board when they turn 65 get the same payment. That's not how it works. you pay into Social Security, and it's based off of the amount of income that you've earned, that gets credited towards your Social Security. So, how much have you actually paid into it? Will either increase your Social Security or decrease your Social Security. So, it depends on how much you've actually participated in the program yourself, and that's how much your Social Security payment will be calculated.
Right. Right. So, that's good. It's based on your, highest, 35 years of highest earning 35 years. That doesn't mean you have to have worked 35 years to collect though, right?
That's correct. So I didn't want to get into the total calculations. We can do that if
Sure.
you have specific questions, but you're right. It's if you have not participated fully, they do subtractions. They'll give you a prorated amount.
Sure.
They won't just completely cut you out of the program,
Right.
but it's going to be an average over those your highest. I think it's 40 quarters or
Sure. Yeah.
of contributions.
Sure.
So we're trying to find the highest amount that you've contributed into Social Security and give you a percentage of that for the rest of your life. But if you've not participated in the labor force, you would still qualify. It would just be at a reduced rate.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. If even if you haven't had the full 35 years, of earnings. So, but when you file makes a big difference in how much that monthly check is, right?
Right. There's an 8-year window of when you can file, starting at 62 and ending at age 70.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's up to you to elect when you'd like to start it. I've had some people that hadn't even started. They've already turned 70 and they didn't notify Social Security that they'd like to start their
Oh,
payments.
no.
And so they're just missing out on payments because it stops growing at 70. So there's no reason not to start your Social Security at 70. That would be the
By at
latest you'd
least
ever start it.
70, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, and that decision shouldn't just be based on what your neighbor did or a coworker or your best buddy or a relative, right?
Right. That's I was gonna bring that up. It should be based off of, we put together financial plans for our clients and we run a Social Security maximization report.
Sure.
So it runs different scenarios for you to figure out what the best time for you to start Social Security is. It's based off of many different circumstances, whether you're single or a married couple. So if you're going to be dependent on two Social Security checks or just one for the rest of your life, that's an important factor. Um, it also takes into effect what age do you expect to retire.
Right.
Um, so not everyone has the same plan, like you're saying. It does your neighbor started at 62 doesn't mean that you should start at 62,
Right.
right? Is your
Yeah.
neighbor a financial advisor or were they a mechanic?
Right,
Right.
exactly, and do they know your personal situation and how much you have saved? Do you have are you the exact same age with the exact same health, with the exact same, age spouse, and do you have the exact same amount saved? I mean, there would have to be, it's a statistical impossibility, and so your filing age might be completely different, right? Because it changes every single month. It
Right.
right?
And so, like I said, I met with a potential client yesterday. I won't divulge too much information about what we talked about in the meeting, but they were
Sure.
someone that's not at full retirement age to start collecting Social Security yet,
Yep.
but they're uncertain if they want to re-enter the workforce or if they consider
Mm.
themselves retired. And that's a big determining factor of whether you should maybe start now or wait. So we have to get clarification for them as to how likely it is for them to go back to work and what their income levels will be if they do go back to work, whether or not we start Social Security next month or we hold off until it's not affected by their earned income at full retirement age for them at 67.
Right. So I have a great example of that, Michael, what you're talking about, just to clarify it for the listeners so they know what you mean there. My neighbor, great guy, good friend, but he was working full time, made well over $100,000 a year. He was probably at about 150, 175. And he was planning on working. He actually ended up working until he was 70 or 71 full time and he was earning 100. He filed for Social Security at 62, locked in the lowest amount, and then because he earned so much, they take back $1 for every $2 you earn over
It's a
it's
pretty low threshold.
yeah, the threshold is around 24 or $25,000.
Yeah, I
It's
think they made
between
an adjustment for 2026,
yep,
but you're right, it's somewhere in the $25,000 range as
it
an
is.
estimate. So
Yep.
which is pretty much a part-time worker at a fast food restaurant at this point, can earn
Right, right. It's way
$25,000.
yeah, it's no full-time job for anyone probably,
So
hopefully.
for
So,
him, he shoulda got a professional, advisor's advice on not starting Social Security at 62. He didn't
right.
need the income, and then he drastically reduced what he would have been receiving because his earned income reduced the amount that he actually got from Social Security.
Yeah, and
So,
he didn't he didn't quit that job until he was over 70 years old. So, he could have let it roll up the whole time, which would have benefited his wife, who is
yes,
younger and hadn't had as many working years.
right. So if he passes away, so that's another key determining factor. As a married couple, if someone passes away, you don't get to continue to collect 2 Social Securities, but you do get to elect to continue to receive the higher of the 2 Social Securities. So it's part of the widower's tax, right?
So
Income
that's a
starts
big sign whether you're ready to file or when you should file. That's, consider your spouse is a big one, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
Because if he passed away at age 72, the day he retired,
Yeah.
she's collecting Social Security that he started at age 62. And, we didn't talk about this yet, but that window of starting Social Security. So 62 is the youngest you can start. It's a reduced amount of your full retirement age Social Security. So full retirement age for most people now is 67. If you haven't
Yep.
already started, you're going to fall in the bracket of 67 is your full retirement age. That's your full benefit. If you elect to take it before 67, it's at a reduced rate. So you can subtract 8% essentially every year that you start earlier than 67, and you can add 8% for every year after 67. So you're letting it grow by 8% annually every year, rounding up, starting
Right.
at 62. So if you wait
Yep.
until 63, it's growing roughly by 8% every year that you don't take it until it stops growing at 70. So his wife, I mean, that's a pretty big difference, probably for a high income earner, $1,500 to $2,500 monthly difference from
Yeah.
starting at 62 or wait until 70. So it is a big decision.
Yeah, it's a huge decision. So, in order to make that decision, again, you said one of the signs is consider your spouse. Another big one is to know your spending needs, right? And that's where working with a trusted financial services professional comes in, because this is what you do. You help people understand what their spending needs will be in retirement, and you can help them figure that out. Correct?
Correct. So let's take that client that I met with yesterday as an example. She's eligible for Social Security, or they are eligible for Social Security. And they're not sure if they're going to go back to work. They're not at full retirement age currently. So they are not earning a paycheck and they're currently drawing from their retirement accounts to get by, right? To pay their monthly bills, to pay their insurance, to pay their taxes. So they don't have a large need for income currently, but they have the necessities that they have to pay for. So that is the ultimate bare bones baseline of income. So when we're looking at running that report, we're going to have a couple of different scenarios of recommendations for her. But it
Yeah.
goes back to what is the smarter decision for her, not for everyone, but for her to start Social Security and when? Do we continue to draw from an IRA or a 401k that's probably going to grow at more than 8%? Has been, right? So now we're losing compounding interest from an asset that's growing at more than 8%, um, to just cover her baseline expenses. Or should it just be Social Security and start it now, and that's gonna cover the baseline of her expenses and let the other account grow? So it really is an individualized report and decision to make.
Mhm. Yeah, it has to be individualized. Everybody's situation is different, and I know whether we're talking about tax planning and minimizing your tax burden, or healthcare planning for healthcare costs, or planning for Social Security, or the markets and investments or insurance. Everybody's situation is different, and it really, that's why you have to meet with people and determine what their personal goals are, their time horizon. A lot of different factors come into play here, don't they?
Right. So when we put together a financial plan, so we started the process with this potential client. What's the saying, Tony? I like you to always say it correctly for me.
What's that saying
A
about
no
what?
cost, no
Oh yeah.
obligation,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No charge,
no charge,
no
no cost, no
obligation
obligation.
consultation.
Sure, consultation.
Yep. 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 That's the one.
When we put together that financial plan, again, it's
Yep.
no obligation. So we run through the exercise, and at the end, you say, you know what? Thank you for that information. We're going to go our separate ways. That's what no obligation means.
Right.
But as we put together the reports, Tony, it's important to understand we have a financial snapshot. So we know where everything is at this point in time. What are the qualifications for each account? Are they qualified or non qualified? Are they going to be taxed when we take money out of it? Are they subject to risk? Are they not subject to risk? And it's just a peace of mind on one simple sheet of knowing where all of your accounts are. Then we also do a risk assessment. So does your current financial plan match up with your current risk assessment? Again, it's individualized. So it's not going to be a cookie cutter approach where I'm telling you that you should be in a 60-40 portfolio, 60% in equities, 40% in bonds or something that's safer than equities. It's going to be based off of your risk assessment. And then we
Right.
run that Social Security maximization. So if you haven't already started Social Security, it's a report. It's not just me, in my opinion, telling you when to start it. It's going to be based off of your situation and your current financial facts going into this report. And then we have a retirement compass that talks about, you know, if we have a shortfall of income, we have Social Security coming in, but we'd like to increase our income from Social Security, our baseline. What accounts are we drawing from and when, and the best tax advantage to do so. Right. And then we have an
Right.
allocation map of if we're making changes, here's our recommendations. So again, it goes back to just an individualized financial report process. And that's how I work with my clients.
Well, that's huge, and you can get deep in the weeds there. Listening to you talk, there's so many different aspects to a solid financial plan and a solid retirement income plan, and of course, Social Security is the foundation, or I like how you put it earlier, the baseline of that plan, because it's going to be a known quantity. You can figure out what you're getting. It's mailbox money that's going to be there every month, and then you figure out, how do I fill that gap between what I can withdraw, and you can figure out, okay, here's what I'll need to withdraw from my retirement accounts to make up that income gap, because Social Security isn't going to be enough for most people out there. It is not going to be enough. So hopefully that's where your 401k or your IRA or your pension or other types of vehicles come into play then.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So convert that savings into income, right? Because you have to figure out what retirement will realistically cost you. You talked about that process, and build a detailed retirement income plan, and include all your expenses, from taxes to healthcare to travel. And really, retirement is about how you'll spend your time. And of course, that costs money typically. If people want to buy an RV and travel the country, that's not free. Those RVs, that's big money.
I know. I think we're going to start a show after this podcast of selling RVs because it's a topic we like to talk about. In retirement, you should buy an RV and travel the US. So on our next podcast, we're going to actually have some really good deals on some cheap RVs for you.
Well, I always bring it up because I know so many people that have done that over the years. That's what my grandpa did.
Yeah.
He had a
No, I
he
have
had a
plenty of
fifth wheel
clients.
pull
That's
behind tree. Is that you hear it
absolutely.
from
Yes.
people, right?
Yes. And I think it's really cool.
It's kind of like kids. If you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? A fireman or an astronaut, right?
Yeah.
It's same thing with, what are you going to do in retirement? I want to buy an RV and travel the country. It doesn't always happen, but a lot of people say that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Or I'm going to take my kids and all their kids, the entire family, to Disney World. And then you sell them, okay, that's going to cost you about $50,000. Which account are
That's
we
without
pulling?
the churro and the snow cone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's minus minus a bottle of water, which will add to that at Disney World. So it's a great trip, and my mother-in-law did that for her kids and their spouses and our kids, and that was fantastic. But it is, you know, we were going through the costs with her, and it is a costly endeavor. So you have to plan for that. If you want to do
Yes.
that, and it's fine. I think it's great to do that, but you have to have that money saved up, right? Where is that going to come from? When is it going to happen? All those things. And it's almost a matter of it's more than how much you have, but when do you need it? At what stage in retirement? And if you pull that money out of an account that's, earning, generating that compounding interest, it can really draw down an account quickly. That's why the focus on establishing Social Security and maximizing your Social Security becomes so critical, because that's bill paying money right there.
Yeah. The baseline's important, right? Because then we work around the baseline and we figure out how does the 401k, your savings, your CD, how do we utilize the other accounts effectively to fill the rest of the gap? So let's figure out the baseline. That's the most important part of the plan, the guaranteed money. Um,
Right.
so, like you said, we got to figure out what are your spending habits? What do you expect to do in retirement? How are you going to spend your time? Let's figure out the fundamentals first. And Social Security is a part of those fundamentals.
Right.
So,
Yeah, there you go. Well, hey, it's been a great show, but I know you have this Social Security maximization report that you can run for our listeners. And all they have to do is set up that no charge, no obligation consultation, as we mentioned earlier. How do they do that?
yeah, give us a call, 916-469-9016. Ask to have a consultation with myself, Michael. We'll put you on the calendar. Or you can go to our website if you would like to do things automatedly. Just there's a Calendly link. It tells you the available times. Request a 30-minute consultation. Go to thematterfinancialgroup.com. That's thematterfinancialgroup.com.
All right. Well, great show today. Great topic. Everybody always has questions about Social Security. And I know a guy who loves hearing from our listeners and viewers and getting those questions and helping people. That's Michael Matter. So, once again, give Michael a call if you have any questions or want to get that complimentary, no charge, no obligation consultation and report run, that Social Security maximization report. Go to thematterfinancialgroup.com to contact and set up that appointment, or call 916-469-9016. Michael, great show today.
Thanks, Tony.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of the Matter Financial Report with our host, the man himself, Michael Matter.